I did a post over on my Facebook page, the Expats in Asia, and I guess it went pretty much viral. It's gotten over 95,000 views. I really didn't think it would be anything outstanding, but apparently it really caught a lot of interest. And it's a post. I'll put the link there and you can go check out the post yourself. And essentially, it's a post. It's a screenshot from, I believe it's a profile on Date in Asia. And it's a Filipina putting it out there that if some guy will pay for her tuition for college, she will marry him after she graduates. And she's not a bad-looking girl, but that's not really the point. The thing is, a lot of guys really responded to it. Maybe many of them have actually fallen for this. And, you could debate maybe her intention is, and it's not just her. It's Filipinas have done this for years. And in fact, I've met expats who specifically went just outside different universities in the Philippines, loitering around to meet college girls and offer them the same deal. You be my girlfriend, maybe we'll get married, maybe we don't, but you be my girlfriend and I'll pay your tuition costs. Now, a lot of Filipinas will turn their nose up at that kind of thing, and that's not what they're about. But these guys are looking for the small percentage of Filipinas who are open to this idea. And so it brings up the whole conversation, I guess, about, the ethics, the morality about it. If she's in college, then she's basically an autonomous adult who can make her own decisions. People might argue her maturity level, but if you're old enough to go enlist in the army or the military, you're probably old enough to decide what kind of dating arrangement you want to participate in. So this post reminded me of a first-hand experience that I had with a guy that I first met him on a consultation I did. I really don't do consultations much anymore. I'll do them once in a while for previous clients, but it's just not really where I put my attention these days. So anyways, I don't know, it was maybe, had to have been 10 years ago, 9 years ago that I got a request to do a consultation. We got to talking, and the gist of it is that this guy, who was a good guy from the UK, he wasn't ready to move abroad because he still had to work. And he was a blue-collar guy, didn't have a whole lot of money. And he made a trip out to the Philippines, got on the dating sites, ended up meeting a Filipina in person. And, turns out she's a college student, wants to be a nurse. And so, of course, his vacation ended, and he made the mistake, yes, it is a mistake, of going home and staying in contact with her. So now he has just enough real-life interaction with her to develop these feelings for her online. But in all reality, being back in the UK, in his home country, he has no clue what she's up to. So anyway, as they get to talking, she, of course, says, oh, life is hard, and I'm paying my tuition. I don't have enough money for my boarding house. And, a boarding house for a college student, that can run, depending on the city, anywhere from $75 to $100 a month. And that's just a boarding room, oftentimes shared with other girls, and, a communal bathroom down the hall. It's not on the university campus. These are boarding houses that are in the city. So he starts sending her money, as you can imagine. And by the time he did a consultation with me, his question to me, after like a year of doing this, was, he said, well, it started out with tuition, and then I found myself on the hook agreeing to pay for her boarding house rent. And she said, well, I go out with my friends after school to study, and I don't have any money for Jollibee, and this and that. I need spending money. He said, now, he goes, I'm sending her so much money every month, it's affecting my own budget. And I'm finding myself just sort of struggling to get by. He goes, so my question to you is, how do I handle this? How do I, what do I do? So, of course, I gave him the common sense answer. Number one, only give what you can comfortably give. Number two, you're not under any obligation. She's not your wife. She's not your fiance. She's really not even your girlfriend. So I told him, this is what you need to do. I go back if you want to your original commitment that you made with her, that you will just help her with her tuition. Anything else, she's on her own. She began this whole thing, she was going to do it before meeting you, so she can do it with your help just on the tuition. I said, but just realize that this money does not obligate her to be your girlfriend and does not obligate her to even meet you on your next visit to the Philippines. So pull it back. If you want to help with tuition because you want to be a nice guy and you know that this does not guarantee anything, knock yourself out. But if it's really becoming a financial hardship, you may have to just cut all giving, and she's going to have to get by on her own like she would have had you never met. So we actually had about 6 consultation sessions, 1 hour each. And I had to tell him the same thing. He's like, well, no, she said that she really needs this money and she'll have to quit school if... I said, you know what? Not your problem. She's not your wife, So he didn't listen, and for well over 2 years, he kept sending the money. And he was keeping in contact with me on Facebook, and he would tell me, man, I got to scrape up some money for my electric bill, my mortgage payment, yada, yada. And so then, a little over 2 years later, he asked me to meet him there in Cebu, which I did. And I remember we were up at this place, I rarely drink, but I had a beer that night, a San Miguel Apple. That's about the only thing I'll drink once every couple of years. Anyways, so we're there, kind of just hanging around the outdoor pool up on the roof, and we're talking, and he's dejected. He had arrived in the Philippines to meet her because she had graduated college, finally, and gotten her nursing, degree or whatever. So he arrives, and he's thinking, well, okay, we finally reached this milestone. Now she can find a job, and, he's going to spend time with her, and they're going to start planning out their future. Well, he gets to Cebu, and, of course, messages her, here I am, let's go meet at such and such place. And that's when she just brought the hammer down, and she said, no. In fact, I'm just going to block you on everything. I got my degree. She was really cold-hearted about it, but in a way it gave him something of closure. He knew where he stood. And she admitted she had a Filipino boyfriend the whole time, and now that she's got her degree, she's going to figure out her life from this point out, and it does not include him. So, without much else, she blocked him. And that's when, I happened to be living in Cebu at the time, so, we met up. I mean, overall, he took it pretty good, but he definitely was highly disappointed. And there really was nothing he could do. It's not like he had any kind of a legal civil case. She asked for money, and he gave it to her. She didn't steal it out of his bank account. She asked for it, and he gave it to her. So, lesson learned the hard way, and a lot of guys will hear this even now, and they'll say, oh, I'd never be that stupid. Yet, I have met and counseled with and talked to so many guys that to one degree or another, they're sending $100 a month. $100 a month to a Filipina that they probably haven't even met yet. They found her online because they're playing around on the dating sites. They start with the private chats and video calls and how was your day? And pretty soon they figure, well, this is like a PG version of OnlyFans. She brightens up my day so I can justify sending her $100. She seems like a nice girl, just needs a little help. Well, what they don't realize is that A, she's probably got several guys on the hook sending her $100 a month. And the other thing is, these guys think, well, I am sending her money. So, of course, when I get to the Philippines on my next vacation, of course she's going to meet with me. And I've got myself some locked in, guaranteed female companionship. In essence, these guys harbor the idea she owes me. I've been helping her, so the least she can do is meet me at the airport and hang out with me for my entire vacation and make my holiday pleasant. Well, that's what my buddies and I call the layaway plan, and it doesn't work. Sending money guarantees you nothing. Don't be surprised if you had this impression and then you get off the plane, baby, I'm here, and all of a sudden, oh, I've got a funeral to go to. I have to go deep in the province. I'm busy with my college classes. My mama's sick. I can't meet you, but can you send some money? You know, it's just off the charts. The excuses that'll come up why she can't meet with you. I remember one guy, he met this woman in Dumaguete, and she was like 35, and he said she was amazing, and she spent like the whole 2-week vacation with them, and they really did have some chemistry, and they really did have a fantastic time. But when I ran into him on the boardwalk, he recognized me, and we got to talking. Again, he was all dejected because earlier that morning, he met with her and said, well, you know, my vacation's up. I got to get back to the States, but I'll be back. I got vacation time coming. I'll be back in 6 months. And whatever month it was, let's just say June, he's like, you know, I can be back in June. And here he had this wonderful 2 weeks with this woman. And she said, oh, could you make it earlier in June, like maybe towards end of May? Or maybe in July? And he's like, well, I don't know, maybe I could, but why? What's going on? And she said, well, my husband's going to be returning from his home country during June, so I really couldn't meet. And, you know, and just like matter of fact, and he's like, wait a minute, you're married? And she's like, yeah, but my husband, you know, he has to work in his home country, you know, to provide for us. And he's still hooked on, well, wait a minute, you're married and you're on dating sites and you're out with me for 2, you know, he was really getting to like her. And to her, it was just like, you know, hey, we're just fun and games, just kind of forgot to mention she's married. So when he met me there on the boardwalk later that night, he was pretty bummed out, you know, and a little angry that she had lied to him. I mean, just flat out hid the fact that she was married. So this whole sending money layaway plan, unless you're feeling really altruistic, or unless the daily, you know, how are you doing, baby? How do you feel? What did you eat? Unless those little conversations are worth $100 a month to you and you don't mind, and you don't expect to get anything in return, unless that's the situation, believe me, you are fooling yourself to think she's going to wait for you or she owes you something. It's just not going to happen. You're going to find yourself empty-handed. Now, maybe there's a guy out there who says, well, I sent money and she did meet with me and she did keep me company during my vacation. Yeah, okay, odds are, who knows, maybe 1, 2, 3% of the time that happens because, hey, she's up for an all-expense vacation at a resort at your expense. But the vast majority of the time, don't expect it. In fact, expect that as you're sending her through some remittance, Gcash or whatever, $100 into her account, expect that other guys are doing the same thing. And she's going to climb off some other guy so that 2 days later when you show up, she's going to be there, bright and perky for you. You just cannot expect any kind of true transparency when you're dealing with somebody thousands of miles away on a different time zone who, as you're going to bed, they're just starting their day. Like, even now, I'm recording this at roughly 9 in the morning. Well, it's already 9 p.m. on the East Coast, and guys are getting ready to call it a night and go to bed because they got to get up for work in the morning. And meanwhile, she's just starting her day. And she's going to go out into the bright, beautiful Philippines and hang out with her boyfriend or meet up with some other expat, and she'll look at her account balance and go, well, I got 3 guys on the hook. That's $300. Don't need to work a job. So just a reminder, don't do it.